Yay, podcast. We're
Yay!
all super high. We didn't actually establish how high energy patient is. It's just me and Zero chunnering while we waited for patient to arrive.
Yeah,
And we're both somewhat low energy, and you know,
functioning on low amounts of sleep.
mm,
You know,
We can keep this brief then. If, I mean, I'm not exactly low on energy myself, but, well, I am a bit hungry, so.
I don't, I don't,
so
I don't mind talking. I have some things I can talk about, so that's nice.
all right, go
Is
on
that
and talk about him, Talk Master.
Oh, I didn't mean to go immediately, but all right, that's fine. Uh, I started a subscription to that Tokyo Treat thing, the box that you get
Oh,
every month.
yeah, they send you a box of Tokyo treats.
Yeah. I used to get that other one, Japan Crate, way back in the day, but
Mm-hmm.
it got to the point where it was one, it was mildly embarrassing sometimes because they liked to put the advertising on the box that is just the box and they don't like package it or anything. So here I am standing at the fucking at my doorstep with the delivery guy and he's handing me a bright pink box with anime girls on it because it was a fruits basket theme for that month and I'm like this is going to be my social activity for the next 2 weeks. This mildly humiliating experience of greeting the delivery man for my uh, anime girl snack box. Yeah.
See, the real exchange is when he shows up, you just nod at each other and he says brother, and you say brother back. And no other words exchanged.
I don't know anything about Fruits Basket. He's not my brother.
I'm familiar with Fruits Basket, and I'd highly recommend it.
I know Laura Bailey was in it and she sang a song or something. I didn't watch it. Even at the height of my creepiness.
Creepiness?
Yeah, it was a thing. It was a running joke of like, Casey is creepy fan.
Yeah, the Laura Bailey obsession.
Yeah, that was a thing. It was only partially a gag.
Yeah, no,
I,
kept coming up in conversation
yeah,
quite frequently.
she has a very attractive voice, and I stand by that. But
Yeah.
the joke was a little creepy. Um, yeah, so I am getting those Tokyo Treat boxes now, and the first one came, and it is fun. I actually didn't really eat a lot of the stuff in the old ones because I don't know, for some reason, despite being willing to invest the money into getting the deliveries, I didn't feel adventurous enough to actually try most of them. So it just ended up being a bunch of stuff that ended up expiring. It was very sad and pointless. And so I'm giving it an honest go this time. It's interesting. It's very interesting. It was it's Moon Festival thing themed. So it's a lot of like uh, snacks based around what would be available for like that kind of celebration. So it's a lot of rice crackers and things like that. You know, fairly standard stuff.
No blueberry cupcakes, then?
No, that to my knowledge, that is that even a Japanese thing? I wouldn't have thought.
No, but it's a thing for her.
Okay, I
So,
didn't watch that much of campaign two. Um,
But
yeah.
you regularly instantly.
So yeah, that's been interesting of actually trying out that stuff and it's hit or miss, but that's kind of the fun of it. Trying stuff, new food palette kind of thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It certainly is good to broaden your horizons.
Yeah, there was
So,
highlight was probably there was a pack of crisps that was like I think it was daikon radish, either flavored or made from. I'm not entirely sure which. The labeling wasn't clear.
um,
But they were very very nice. And at the bottom end there was a stick of mochi something that was covered in flour. I don't know whether that's standard for mochi snacks, but it tasted kind of like mildly stale peanut butter.
um,
So yeah, not a fan of that one. But you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm.
yeah, that radish chips. That does sound pretty. That does sound interesting, at least.
yeah, it was really nice. It was like a sweet savory flavor. It was good. Um, yeah, so that's cool. And I, for some reason, I decided to get a year's worth to commit. So okay, that's gonna happen for a year. Um, other things that I did, uh, is pretty much one thing. The code guy. Yes, I'm still gonna be a fucking snob about that. The gotcha game for it came out in Western territories.
Yeah.
It is surprisingly good.
You get your SSR ranked Colin in a
Yes,
skimpier outfit.
it's a standard outfit.
All right, that will come out later. The skimpy
Actually,
outfit
it's not a
version.
standard outfit. It's her episode 1 outfit when she's
Uh,
yeah. I believe the next one that comes out is the oh fuck, what was it? It's the Black Knight outfit, and then I'm gonna show you the one that comes out after that.
all right, because I think I know. I think I already have an idea as to where this is going.
You might do. It's a thing. Let's see, where is it? I've got to find her in the tier list. I think that's it.
All right.
Nope, that's not it. That's also not it.
That's also not it.
I'm so bad at this. Also, I will spoiler it for patience' sake, because
Yeah, no, okay. I know exactly what it is.
Oh dear.
okay, bear with me. Oh, fuck. I should have saved this shit. For multiple reasons, I should have saved this shit. But yeah, the gameplay's actually pretty. It's Arc Knights, you know, it's the tower defense kind of thing. Only I don't remember whether you played Path to Nowhere Zero.
No, I did. Put a. I did get pretty decently into Arc Knights for a little bit.
Yeah, it plays very much like Path to Nowhere, which is my only experience with that tower defense kind of theme. But it's quite a bit more focused on strategy than I am familiar with from that. So, like Path to Nowhere, it was very much a case of make the numbers bigger, and that is how you win. This you pretty much can't do that. You actually have to actually think about placements and your strategy and approach to everything.
What's
or
the name
you
of
will
this,
just
by the
lose.
way?
Code Geass Lost Stories.
Okay. Good. I
That's
know
the,
that.
that's the thing that patients shouldn't look at.
Yeah, no. Okay, that's exactly what I was expecting.
Yeah.
After how many freaking collaborations Lelouch v. Lamperouge has in jumping into other gotcha games, eventually it was inevitable that we get to this point.
Yeah.
Would you recommend this? Not for me, but I have a very close friend who her husband is basically Lelouch. She's a massive fan of the series.
Okay. Is
He's an anime character. He's
That-
two-dimensional.
that raises a lot of very concerning questions, but I'm not gonna judge. You know, whatever works for
Basically,
them.
Lelouch is always.
Uh, I don't know because I don't know how tolerant they are of gotcha games in general, because it is a gotcha game. That's, you know, a thing that it is, and there's no two ways about that. Also,
Yes.
I did spend the last couple of minutes scrolling just so I could find another picture that I posted somewhere else. You know that fucking picture that I just showed you of Summer
Yeah.
Callan that comes out in like 2 months, even though it's going to be like November, because they did the release timing weird. It's not the same time of year that the original was.
Okay.
That's the shower scene.
Oh.
So oddly oddly circumspect, considering by comparing the two images.
Yeah.
I have no words.
Like,
I'm.
not even like a camera discretion shot or anything like that. Just bloom, basically. Oh well. Yeah. So that's a pretty decent game. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. It's fairly bare bones on content so far because it just came out and it's doing the starting from the beginning thing that FGO did. Which means I naturally know what all the banners are going to be before they come out, which is nice. But it does come out with new content very rapidly. So, like, there is a new story chapter maybe every 3 weeks. So,
Okay.
you know, it's neat. It does things with the story, but isn't particularly adventurous about it. Like, there was another game back in the day. I think it was a DS game. It might have been. I can't remember. Called Lost Colors. That was basically, hey, there is another character, and they are getting involved with the story. And it was actually fairly branching. You could get involved with whichever factions you liked. So you could do the Black Knights thing and just do regular plot, or get involved with the JLF or the Britannians, and that would be who you'd side with for that run of the game. This game doesn't do that at all. It's just this is the plot of Code Geass, and there is another person who is there and present. It's basically, you know, the fanfiction self-insert where the self-insert is just kind of there and occasionally comments on the plot.
Ridiculous. What's even the point of that kind of story?
It's my least favorite type of fanfic.
Yeah, so it's a little bit that, but also the protagonist has their own story that isn't terrible. Like, there is a fair amount of time that is actually spent on their personal story, like their personal relationships with characters that are not the main cast.
Okay, that's a bit different. I mean, if they're just hero of another story, that could make them not having a lot of impact on the main story be more understandable. Even still,
like, I'm only the first 3 chapters of the story are out, which are the first 4 episodes of the show, I think. 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's gotten anywhere that I could really give a definitive answer on what the story's going to do. But so far, it seems like it's just going to be mostly a retread with the game's protagonist stuff tacked on. But that's fine. Like I say, it's decently well told.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got though. Um, tell you what, Zero. How about you go last? It's because I know it's gonna be the fucking direct.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. So that's why I didn't want to go first.
Yeah, patient. How's it going?
I mean, if we want to be patient and wait until next week when Slicer is here to talk about the direct, we could do that.
Nah.
Nah.
Hmm. Well, I honestly don't have much going on. It's just more of the same. More trying to find a job and failing. Oh, right. Something happened this past week that was exceptionally unpleasant. My mother was laid off without notice, and given a very generous severance package of half a month's pay. After bringing in over $2 million for the company in the past 3 days alone, after dealing with 3 people's workloads for the past 6 weeks, after dedicating 2.5 years to building this company up.
At will state.
Yes. She was livid, quite understandably, and is also in the job search now. I am still working on it myself. Put out a lot of applications and gotten a few interviews back, but none have gotten back to me with a yes response yet. So what can you do?
I hope it all works out for you.
Yeah, it'll all work out soon enough. We're just not there yet.
Yeah, you got it.
Fine in the end, but this is still the middle.
Yeah. How's the unemployment coming along? I remember you were working on that.
I submitted my requests for the payments for the first couple of weeks, and I'm waiting to hear back about that. So they said it could take a few business days, and yeah, I don't have any major bills coming up until the end of the month when rent is due, and worst comes to worst, I have enough in my savings accounts to make at least 2 rent payments before I start getting desperate. So, yeah. It's just starting to weigh on me now that my severance package has finally run out, and the last payment was about 10% of what I was expecting. Oh, yeah. Just gotta keep on trying, and hopefully get there at some point. Sooner than later. Aside from that, just nothing else really going on. Just I got back into playing Pikmin 4 after 100%ing it due to Masayanella Let's Playing it and just making me want to play it again. My second run through, I'm just trying to clear the game in as few days as possible. So we'll see how that goes. I'm still stuck on in relatively early parts of the game. So, but I'm sure that it'll be a lot faster than my first run through this time. But yeah, that's about it. Nothing else noteworthy going on. I'm just stagnant at the moment. So about the direct, what was standing out to us most there?
I mean, there's a lot of competition, really. There was Mario, there was Mario, there was some Mario, I think, and then there was the Mario, and
There
there
was
was a bit of
F-Zero.
Mario towards the end, I think, as well. Yeah, there was
So
Mario. Yeah.
for anybody who had any doubts, yes, we are nearing the end of the Switch's life cycle. Yes, they are releasing a new Switch probably late next year. It's already been previewed at certain events. People have already been talking about it. And so as we enter into the sunset era of the Switch, we're getting a bunch of remakes. A bunch of them.
Yeah, they did a whole direct for Mario Wonder, and then
Yeah,
they announced like 6 fucking Mario projects, and like a week later.
that's because the Mario stuff is basically filler for the other franchises because they're making their launch titles for the next console. I bet you.
Yeah, I'm,
I
I'm,
mean,
I'm
this
just saying
is
they could have just done a Mario direct and had all of it be bumper to bumper Mario content of different stripes, and like it's not like there was very much else to this thing. It was all Mario, and then there was F-Zero, and I think there was a Splatoon thing in there. I skipped over it because I don't give a shit about Splatoon, but yeah.
there were some other good games there. That Unicorn Overlord
Oh, that fucking
actually
title.
looked. What was that?
That title.
Yeah.
Unicorn Overlord.
It is quite the title. But yeah,
Pixie Despot.
Unicorn Overlord is from the developers who made 13 Sentinels. It's a tactics RPG coming out March 8th. That will let you have an army of over 60 unique characters.
Which means they're all gonna be shit.
Um, for those who never played 13 Sentinels, that game is like very story heavy. Very interesting like concepts for how the story's written. Like they are very good at handling story content. So I wonder what they're gonna be doing with 60 characters here.
Hopefully,
Mhm.
go ahead.
When me and my friends we were in a call watching the direct, and we were looking at this, and we thought at first it was a mobile game with how many characters they were throwing out. Is this a free to play game? Is that what it's going to be? It's like, no, it's a full game. Go ahead, patient.
I was just saying, hopefully, the game will show the right amount of control and consideration for this many characters. It's not impossible that it could be done well. I mean, if they're hyping it up this much, that's a headline at a Nintendo Direct. I think we can afford to be optimistic.
Yeah. It is like I said, 13 Sentinels is a very good game. So it's probably going to be actually pretty good.
I've actually heard from one or two YouTubers who I was watching react. The other developer, Vanilla Tech or whatever it was, they've got a
Vanilla.
pretty good reputation.
Yeah,
Vanillaware, that.
yeah. Yeah, Vanillaware is the one who made 13 Sentinels and Odin Sphere.
Mm.
They have a very good reputation when it comes to game development. No, at least their artwork is typically very memorable at the very least.
It does look gorgeous.
Mermaid Furor.
Must you, Lucy? I mean,
I know.
I feel like any of these could make a good title,
I
quite frankly.
suppose.
Yeah, no.
It's a very different telling Little Mermaid.
Like fairy tyrant, it's works. So there was some really there was some cool things that they announced. Another code recollection is bringing a series over to um, the Switch. That like the second game in that series was only like Japan exclusive,
I
and it's
never,
bringing that plus a new game. That's super cool.
I never played
Sure.
Trace Memory myself. I don't think I'd ever even heard of it, but it looks like fun.
Hmm. Um, and that was a series I always wanted to play, but I never got to. They showed some stuff they'd already announced, which was like, "Hey, it's Detective Pikachu 2. You excited about Detective Pikachu 2?" It's like,
No.
I mean,
That trombone game is going to be.
oh, I love Trombone Champ.
I mean, that on the surface, it's something that obviously is meant to be not taken seriously. But I can. The number of people who are going to see that, it's clearly something that you just play if you want to have fun.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. It's were you not aware of it on PC?
No,
Uh,
that's in
it's
general that's something to assume. If it's a
there.
PC game, no, I'm not familiar with it because I
There,
have a Mac.
there are some things you should look up. Some videos of some songs that were modded in.
Oh dear.
It's pretty funny.
One Winged
Um,
Angel is in there, and
yeah.
for
No.
that one, they modded the model so the trombone is like 20 feet long, like Sephiroth's sword goes across the entire screen. There is. Are you familiar with the meme song "Big Enough" that has the old cowboy in the sky screaming?
Yeah.
No.
That's one to look up just in general. I can tell you the name of it, and it's fantastic. Just as a song, honestly, it's a good song, despite the memeness. But they also did a version of that in there, and it's a special experience.
Um, yeah. Aside
No.
from that, some of the stuff that I wanted to talk about that I am actually interested in. I haven't got a chance to play it yet, but they have announced the F-Zero 99, which is already out,
That
which
did look really
is
really cool.
so it's like the Tetris 99 thing where you are up against 98 other players. But F-Zero is a pretty fun racing game, which you have a power meter and you will die if that power meter goes low. You can also spend that power meter to boost, and when as players collide with each other, they drop sparks, and you can collect those like sparks to then go onto an air path and like bypass all the other racers. It looks super fun. My friends who have played it already are loving it, so I'm excited to actually start playing that soon.
I mean, using the 99 format, I don't think they've released a bad game in that format yet. Granted, there have only been three, I think, but
Yeah, I have like a suspicion, by the way, that, and this is probably totally obvious, but I'm thinking that like they're using this to either drum up or gauge interest for a future F-Zero game.
mm,
Because it's been so long since an F-Zero game that most people don't even know what it is. They just know Captain Falcon from Smash Brothers.
yeah, they've got a lot of people who are saying, give us a new F-Zero game, give us a new F-Zero game. And while they may be vocal, are they among the majority? That's a fair question for them to
Have they
answer.
actually played F Zero in the past 20
Yeah.
years?
So like this is something where it's like it's a free game if you already have like the Nintendo Online stuff, which most people do, and you can just play it, get to experience F-Zero and the different racers and the race cars, and um, yeah, sure, I'm down to play this game and support the effort to have an F-Zero game again.
Well,
It
I'll
kind of
probably,
fell to the wayside when like the main one of the main things in later F-Zero, which was like the gravity manipulation stuff, went over to Mario Kart.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, with Mario Kart 8 finally nearing the end of its DLC, perhaps this could be the next big racing game.
okay, so Mario Kart 8 has lived too long. That it's lived too long. You had Mario Kart 8, then you had 8 Deluxe, then you have a bajillion infinite DLCs, and they decided that just gonna nuke you at the end with here's Diddy Kong, who should have been there way earlier. Here's Peachette, who started the whole Bowsette meme way back in the day. And then here's Funky Kong, who broke the meta last time he was a character. So have fun. Bye.
I mean, is that really a thing to complain about though? Like that is now a game with a lot of content, and it's still fucking Mario Kart. Like, what are they
It's
gonna change when they make a new one?
Yeah,
It's gonna be the same thing essentially, with a lot less content and maybe looking shinier.
I just I just think it's amazing that they've stretched it out for so long without making a new game, because at this point it basically is, to be honest.
I
Because
mean, maybe,
original Mario Kart 8 had DLC, and then that was packaged into the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and then they made even more DLC. They brought over Pauline too, which is really good because there's so few female characters, and everybody loves Pauline.
mhm.
I was really excited. I'm going to just jump into this one because this was the one I was most excited about, was the Thousand Year Door HD or remake or whatever.
Yeah, Zom is really excited about that one too. I never played any of the Paper Mario games except the original one,
Yeah,
but I have heard nothing but stellar praise for the Thousand Year Door.
and obviously there's a lot of nostalgia right there. So
Naturally.
you'll have some rose tinted glasses, I myself included. Like, I played these games as a kid, and I really really loved them. And I barely ever replay games, but I've replayed these games the most out of like any other games ever. Um, and some people were like, "Well, why didn't they remake the first one?" It's, well, you can play the first one on like their uh,
NSO.
NSO. I keep wanting to call it Virtual Console. You can play the old one. You have not been able to play Thousand Year Door legally without emulation um, since it released on the GameCube. It's never been ported to anything else. It's never been re-released, and that's why people have been shouting about it for it to get a remake. That would being like the best one. So that's finally happening next year. Super excited about that. It looks great. It looks like they're adding in some new content. There's a character in there that was not in there before, and so I'm wondering how different it is. This is actually like really good news, because for anybody who doesn't know or is not familiar, um, the Paper Mario franchise has 6 games, technically 7-ish if you count the crossover one, but 6 games. 3 of those are good. The first 3. The last 3 have been bad to like okay.
What was the
And
third one?
was the third one?
Yeah.
Okay, it was Super Paper Mario on the Wii,
Ah, okay.
and that went with a different, like, it didn't go turn-based style, but went with more like an action combat style in a way, or platformer combat in a sense, where you had to jump around and dodge and jump on enemies or attack them with other means. Um, but then Sticker Star came out, and it basically ruined the franchise.
I've heard that from Chaka Conroy to no end.
Um, because it went and it did the thing where they decided that instead of making it an RPG, they'd have it have turn-based battle where every action that you take is a consumable item, and you don't get experience for defeating enemies. There's no leveling up in the game, so there's no point to ever engage in combat in the game. Not to mention, it's incredibly tedious with a lot of backtracking. A lot of the writing and character stuff that people cared about was removed. Having different partners that go with you on the adventure, that was removed. The partner they do give you is incredibly annoying and awful. Bowser doesn't have a single line of dialogue as opposed to the other games, and it has incredibly obtuse answers to its various puzzles that require you to go find one specific item that's hidden in a very specific place and then bring it to the specific area without any prompting or hinting that's actually useful. And yeah, no, and a lot of those problems carried forward into the next two games. Not nearly as bad over time, but people have just wanted it to be an RPG series again. And so this is the first good sign of that ever happening in like over 10 years.
I mean, they've brought back the two Mario RPGs, 3 if you count Paper Mario on NSO, that people have hyped up to no end. 2 of them being remasters of the original, and 1 being exactly as it was.
Mm-hmm.
If these sell as good and are reviewed as good as they were supposed to be, then it'll probably signal a return to form for the next Paper Mario game. I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, they're definitely going to have people be optimistic for the next Paper Mario game in the face of these 2 re-releases. Cautiously optimistic, but optimistic nonetheless, now that they're bringing back what most people really liked. So
Yeah. The hope is that the developers will be like, okay, so this is how we make a good Mario RPG game, and then just go forward.
yeah, I mean, obviously they'll have to change up the formula at some point, but well, we'll see how it goes.
Because it didn't help that the developers were very like some of the PR people they had put out in front to talk about the Paper Mario series as of late were pretty kind of high on their own farts of like we are revolutionizing things, and that sort of like stance, and in fact they were just kind of destroying things. So got a lot of bad PR. And the other Mario, the Mario and Luigi games, which was the other RPG series for Mario, Alpha Dream, the developers, went defunct in 2019. So it's literally only Paper Mario as the RPG series,
which is a shame because Mario and Luigi was actually really good.
Yeah, it was.
As I recall, Superstar Saga is on NSO. I have not tried it yet.
And it's a good game. It's not my favorite, but it's a pretty good game. But they did re-release some of the other games on like remakes for like 3DS or something. But a big part of the reason why you had Sticker Star Saga, Sticker Star, not Sticker Star. So I'm brain. I'm tired. So part of the reason why you had Sticker Star go the way it went was because they wanted to differentiate themselves from Mario and Luigi, and instead of going an RPG direction, because Mario and Luigi was now like the go-to RPG series, they were like, well, let's just go with like an adventure-y style thing. But they didn't really fully commit, and they didn't really communicate that very well.
Yeah, like I do remember that Mario and Luigi did take a lot of cues from how Paper Mario worked in terms of combat.
So that's why Paper Mario went downhill, because the other Mario RPG that was being created just took everything that was good about it.
In a sense, it was partially that, partially like new developers coming in and a changing of hands on the series, and them going in a completely different direction because they thought that it would be better. That you would constantly have to open up a menu to pick out your attacks and everything, and it's just because every attack is a consumable item, and it is always a loss to fight basic enemies because you don't get even experience. It's a frustrating game. Origami King, the latest one, was like, oh man, this is a step in the right direction for the Paper Mario series. I hope we can get an actual RPG next time. And then they gave the HD Thousand Year Door thing, which everybody has been screaming about for years.
So it seems like they're going in the right direction. We'll have to wait until the next game comes out to know for sure. But in the face of these remakes, remasters, we can probably go another couple of years without that.
Yeah, no, it's good. Like, I imagine that the next Switch is going to be relatively similar because that, like they're sticking with carts. They really like those. The portable thing is a huge advantage of the Switch. So I don't imagine they're going to make it like anything incompatible. So it's probably just like before, can just use my old carts on the new system, but it will run better.
Yeah, that would be the hope. I mean, let's be honest. The Nintendo carts is maybe a strong word. They're basically just SD cards.
Yeah.
So that's very easy to port over to a new system. It's literally just a tiny little hard drive, basically. And honestly, they have basically seeded the dedicated mobile game console, and that was probably a really good choice. I think it, from a business standpoint, I think it's going to be a really big ask to try and sell a handheld game console when fucking everybody is playing video games on their phones now.
Yeah. And prior to the Switch coming out, it was something that various developers and staff at Nintendo were like constantly discussing, was like the mobile market and everything.
The only way I could see them making it work is if the next Switch or whatever it is has a hologram projector for the TV instead.
I've like, obviously there's some exaggerated reports of like how well the next console runs. Some people say it's comparable to the PS5, which I find highly unlikely.
Yeah,
I find extremely unlikely.
Nintendo's going bleeding edge for graphics. They always go so hard on the tech specs.
Yeah,
Jesus fucking Christ.
People are gonna like try to like play it up so hard. It's probably just gonna run better. It'll be better, but not quite nearly as good as a full, non-portable console, and it'll have a longer battery life. If it just has that, you're good.
It will be comparable to the Steam Deck. That's what it's going to be.
And that's fine. Like, genuinely, that's fine.
Make pirating games on the Steam Deck easier.
I mean, the other stuff that they announced, obviously it was Super Mario RPG Remake. They talked about that, which has already been out, and that they're having like new post-game boss rematches. And like, they didn't actually discuss this, but there's an option to toggle music between classic and remade. You also have new triple attacks with their own like little animated movies for each combination, which is super fun. I like seeing new stuff in a game that's like really old.
It's pushing 30.
Yeah, it's the one that started Mario and Luigi, Paper Mario, all the RPG stuff. So give it some love.
Well, if you feel like it. It's I feel like it's one of those games that people are gonna go back to and think, oh wow, this was that game I loved way back when, huh?
You've never played it, have you? I don't think so. All right.
I don't even know what console it was on.
It was on
Game.
the no, you're talking about Super Mario RPG that was on the SNES, I believe.
Oh, that.
I mean, I guess that's of an era where you can actually see it as classic rather than old and busted. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe it will age more gracefully than I think it will. But I remember seeing a highlight reel of a Let's Play, and it was certainly an old game from that era.
it was um very classical turn-based, but they're doing things like when you get your action commands correctly, they're now you now do like splash damage and they make it an AoE attack. Plus the triple attacks I think are meant to like spice up the gameplay and make it less monotonous
Yeah,
for like random battles.
it's that only shittier than the newer games that do exactly that, like Mario and Luigi and Paper Mario.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you know that there is an argument to be made for, hey, respect the classics, but it's still improvements have been made. That's my argument. So, you know,
Well, we'll see.
yeah,
uh the one thing that surprised me was the frickin' Mario versus Donkey Kong remake of the 2004 Game Boy Advance game that not a
I'll
lot of
tell
people
you,
played.
I'll tell you what. I know one particular YouTuber in the last Nintendo Direct. He was desperate for anything Donkey Kong, and it was Mario, 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 and more Mario. And this time, he was excited that it was going to be a Donkey Kong game. It was confirmed that there would be a Donkey Kong game, and Donkey Kong is the villain, and it's mainly a Mario game. He was incensed, shall we say?
Um,
yeah,
for those not in the know, Donkey Kong has not had a game since 2014 with Tropical Freeze.
yeah.
So people have been wanting a Donkey Kong game because those are fun and they're very good platformers that actually like push the medium forward. Um, but no, no Donkey Kong game yet.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If they do come out with another Donkey Kong Country game, there's one thing that I really, really, really hope that they don't do, that they did in both Donkey Kong Country Returns and Tropical Freeze, and that is your prize for clearing the bonus area at the very end of the game, getting past all of these teeth-grindingly hard challenges, is that you unlock hard mode for the rest of the game. That is the only time that I have ever rage quit a game.
Well, you did all these really hard things. You must really love a challenge.
Shut up, Casey.
I mean, I beat Celeste, which was oh wow, you did A side. Here's B side. Oh wow, you did B side. Here's C side, which is even harder. But you know, I don't I really though I wasn't expecting a Donkey Kong game because Retro Studios is working on like Donkey Kong is their series they work on, and they have been busy trying to make Metroid Prime 4 exist. And we've heard nothing on that, which tells me that that's going to be a launch title for the next console. They just pushed it out probably. Like, oh, we'll do that later.
As long as it's not another Dread situation, which, while an excellent game when it finally came out, was all but forgotten for years on end.
Well, I mean, it didn't exist. It was an idea, and then like it didn't exist, and then new developers came over and they said, "Hey, we can make Metroid games. Here's a Metroid 2 remake." And then they're like, "Okay, sure, yeah, no, you can make Dread." And they're like, "Yes!" And then they made Dread, which it's not the same developers, you know.
Fair enough. I didn't know all the details.
Yeah. So no Donkey Kong, except for him stealing the Mario toys from the factory. So Mario has to go hunt him down. You know, that's the plot of Mario versus Donkey Kong.
My copyright.
for the sake of capitalism, I guess. Um, oh yeah, there's a Princess Peach game, which now has a title, Princess Peach Showtime.
I will
Um,
not lie, that looks like a lot of fun. Just all sorts of different kinds of plots and mini games just crammed into one game.
yeah, it's a
Different outfits.
variety game.
Yeah, I love the premise of that.
You go into different areas of the stage, you get different costumes, and go through different game modes, whether it be like mini games related to making a cake or an action sort of game where you have the sword and you can run around and stab things, or like the kung fu mode, which has seems like a lot of like um, precisely timed button presses and such alongside combat. So like QTs.
And now to the names of the bad guys. We have Grape and the Sour Bunch.
Yeah, because they're going against Peach.
That's it's
That's a
amusing.
that's the joke. Because peaches are sweet, so yeah, I
Yeah.
gotta go get sweet versus sour. Um, there's a weird Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 remaster
Oh, yeah.
collection that looks like a mobile game. I mean, it looks better than before. It looks like a mobile game though.
Hmm. I mean,
And then
it,
yeah,
it it to an extent it kind of has to look the way that it does. Um, because I don't know whether you played the Tomb Raider games from way back in the day, Zero. I mean, you were
I did.
like a sperm at the time, so
My experience with Tomb Raider, early Tomb Raider, was I think I think either my dad had it or it was on a demo disc, maybe one of those old demo discs, and I couldn't get past the beginning. I didn't understand how the game worked at all because I was too young to think.
yeah, that
My dad played it as well.
that
I
game series, the gameplay was very geometrical. Is probably the way that I will put it. There were a lot of block puzzles. There were a lot of jumping puzzles that were very set with right angles. So you square yourself up to the edge and then jump over to the next platform, and everything had to be very deliberate squares and rectangles for platforms.
Yeah,
So in that sense, it kind of has to look that way because that's kind of how the gameplay functions.
no, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, okay, yeah, no, I retract my statements. That makes sense.
It's not really a strong defensive thing. Like
Mhm.
I it's the Super Mario RPG thing that I was talking about earlier. It's classic, sure. It's also old and busted, so I'm not exactly going to recommend getting that collection or anything.
Yeah,
If you're curious about what things were like in the yesteryear, in the times when Casey was a wee lad and played video games that honestly weren't even that fun at the time. Um, I played those games. They weren't very fun. I finished the first two. Uh,
I was in call and I was joking about this. I was like, oh look, in the remaster they added like 6 more polygons to her boobs.
yeah, pretty much.
um, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. I have no interest in getting that because I don't like Luigi's Mansion 2 that much.
Yeah, I understand that one was it was a DS game, so it was very much cut down from.
Because original Luigi's Mansion, you're in one mansion and it gets bigger. Like it expands and opens up areas as you go through it, and there's all these different boss ghosts that are like unique characters and people of the mansion. And then Luigi's Mansion 2 is you're going between different mansions. And I think I had to fight like a spider ghost at the beginning that was just like the worst.
the Spider Queen, yeah. I never played it myself. I watched Chugga Conroy's comprehensive Let's Play of it. And I mean, it looks like a good game. Just, uh, yeah, kind of lacking compared to the other two.
Yeah, if you're gonna play Luigi's Mansion game and you haven't played 3 already, just buy 3. 3 is a great game. Splatoon 3's DLC, I'm really excited for actually,
It does look
because
interesting.
it looks really fun. I've been wanting more content with that game.
It looked very near.
Yeah, so the entire theme from the last Splatfest of Splatoon 2 was chaos versus order. And chaos won, so that became the theme of the main story. And why it's very, like, the main story is very post-apocalyptic looking. Because it is a post-apocalypse in Splatoon. But you're out in the desert and in the wasteland for Splatoon 3's main story. And then you have Side Order, which is both a pun, because fish, and also the Order side of that Splatfest, which is now DLC. And they're introducing some characters and stuff. Looks fun. Some people were thinking it might be a roguelike mode that they're adding, so that could be fun.
I have never been into Splatoon myself, and I don't see that changing. It seems like something that would be a lot of work to get into. But I
It's
mean,
I mean, it's a
it's
multiplayer
really
game.
it's really not is the thing. Like, you have, obviously there's like a ranked mode for the tryhards, but there's like casual just matches, and then there's the side mode, which is kind of their equivalent of zombies. We're fighting waves upon waves of enemies and a bunch of super bosses, and it's just co-op, and that's a ton of fun. That mode in particular, I will 100% play that any day of the week. And you don't have to be like super cracked at the game. The game scales with like your skill level, typically.
fair enough.
It's not hard to get into. It's just like any game, obviously you have to learn the skills, but like it's meant to be approachable by children, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair point. All right.
Yeah, no.
There was also that new WarioWare game they announced.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about that. For those who don't know, the WarioWare game on the Wii had those same styles of forms where you had to hold the Wiimote in a specific place and then move. And
Yeah,
um,
I still remember the deadpan snarky way that the announcer introduced each new pose the first time you were using it.
and it was hilarious. You end up looking super dumb while doing it, but it's great if you have people over. Or I don't even know if they have an online mode for that, but like it's good for some local co-op. Um, and we finally got to see the Suikoden spiritual successor, after it has been delayed multiple times, which is Aiden Chronicle 100 Heroes, coming out in April. This was actually funded through Kickstarter, and it was supposed to launch in October of 2020, but COVID happened. So this is finally coming out. Only good things I have heard regarding this, and I have a lot of friends who are very excited. There's shark people in it. I'm excited for shark people. That's all I can really say on that. But yeah, no. This is very much a direct of, hey everybody, we're trying to end the Switch's life cycle. We're just putting out some last minute remakes and things that you like before moving on to the next one. Which, fair. I just saw some people had some ridiculous expectations for what was going to be shown here. As always.
I remain of the opinion that we don't need this many directs. We can do with less.
Yeah. I like the general sort of just directs, but then Pokemon is always like, Pokemon companies like, we want our own direct so we can spend 30 minutes talking about mobile games that nobody plays.
I mean, everyone wants to know about Pokemon Master Sex.
I wish you wouldn't do that.
I mean,
I didn't name the game, man.
that's one way to catch them all. STDs, that is.
Shut up.
uh,
I'm proud of Patient. He's told us to shut up twice in this episode.
Zero,
no,
did you have anything else to discuss about this week?
oh yeah, no. So Baldur's Gate 3 is getting their third major patch on the 21st.
More video games. Great.
Yeah, I'm sad about that. Maybe I can actually finish the game. No, I have more video game talk. The Pokemon, Scarlet and Violet released their DLC, the Teal Mask.
And I still need to buy that, once
S-
I've got the money for it.
So I have started playing that game after moving over all my Pokemon from like Pokemon Home, my like level 100, like EV, IV trained. Um, I can actually beat raid battles with more ease Pokemon. Because there's the high end raid battles are like you need a level 100 like optimized Pokemon for this fight to have a relatively easy time with this. Otherwise, it's just gonna be annoying because you have to work online with people or with NPCs, and both suck. I was going up against a Pokemon that gets stronger every time it gets hit with a fire attack, but it's an ice Pokemon. It's Ice Dragon, so it's in the first place it's not even resistant to fire, but like its terrace type is like grass, so everybody's like brings their fire type Pokemon, and they keep hitting it with fire moves, and it doesn't do a lot of damage. And then the raid boss gets buffed every time they hit it. Its attack goes up, and it starts one-shotting all of us. And it's just, well, I'm never going to clear this fight.
Ever hear
uh,
of bug or ice or flying?
yeah,
Probably ice.
I
Probably
brought my
ice.
Scizor, and two people brought the fire starter.
Ugh.
But what you gonna do? Um, I immediately remembered that feeling when I open up the game. That feeling of the game struggling to exist, of the slowdown, the frame rate, the pop in the everything, the brokenness of that game. I had it too good. The last couple of games I played on Switch, and it just need to remind me that this is what Scarlet and Violet is. Oh, oh man! After all the patches and everything, it's still not great.
Hmm.
It's unfortunate. Um, the story and the characters so far they've introduced, I like them. Um, they have a whole extra Pokedex for the new area, and a bunch of new Pokemon have been added into the game, and you can bring over everything. And I'm making like a new team as I go through this like DLC area because that sounds fun to me. Apparently, the story's not very long, and it is meant to be like part one to the other thing, which is coming out in a few months, I think.
Yeah, sounds good.
But man,
Are there any new Pokemon besides Diplin?
yes, there are new Pokemon.
Besides
Not,
Diplin and the new legendaries, of course. We knew
I
about
believe,
those.
didn't they add like a new? I mean, those were legendaries they added with the new future, a new past form. Yeah.
Yeah, the Raikou and
Yeah.
the Chameleon.
There's also Poltergeist
Oh yeah,
and Sinistcha.
yeah,
Which are the regional forms.
I saw those. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, then the oh yeah, no, there is a new sort of Pokemon. as well. I don't want to. It's kind of a spoiler, I guess, if I talk about it though.
Mm.
It's a non-legendary. Um, but
Is it a form or evolution or anything of a previous Pokemon, or is it completely new whole cloth?
it's a form of it's a new form of a Pokemon, I think.
All right, I'll leave it at that
Um,
for now. It's that spoiler heavy.
yeah. I got people immediately started throwing that at me in a Discord that I'm at. I'm like, well, now I know that exists.
Mm.
So, but it's fine. I'm not upset about it. But uh, it's I have to actually play more of it to understand what is going on there. But I need to get a new Pro controller because all of mine are broken with horrible drifting. So I'm never buying a Power A controller ever again. um, and I got a new controller now, so I was just starting to make my way through it. It's nice to catch Pokemon again, I guess. It is scratching that itch. Um, I just wish that game ran better. I really do. There's at this point, it feels like there's no excuse. I guess it's not a graphically intensive game by any stretch of the imagination, and they've had like a year to patch it.
I think the excuse that they're using is people are still buying it and playing it despite the flaws, so why bother fixing them? Yeah, I don't want that to be the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
I mean, at the very least, they removed the freaking Pokeballs in the center of scenes that were flags for a cutscene happening that were just left out in the open.
Yeah.
But I mean, their last patch was in June, so that's how often they've been patching it, I guess. But yeah, what you gonna do? They're playing football downstairs. My family's screaming, specifically my mom. Yeah, no. Other than that, house has been busy. My older sister's having a baby shower in October at our house. My mom's
All
putting
right.
it together.
Sounds great.
We're gonna have like 35 people in one house. It's
Ooh.
triggering my social anxiety already. But what you gonna do? We're gonna have lots of chairs and food and catering and everything.
Mm.
So should be a good time, but it's gonna be a lot of people I do not know
Yeah, I know that feeling.
in my house.
Never pleasant, that.
But yeah, that's I think about it for me. Um, oh, my mom is really excited. All right. Okay, I think I'm done.
All right, then are you going to bring up the Patreon stuff?
Didn't we do it last week?
I don't know, I wasn't here.
I think we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm very sleepy now. So
Yeah, no. I am also sleepy. I've managed to regain some energy, but I want to go to sleep now.
yeah, I am sleepy and my thumb hurts. It's been a weird thing. I've got a bunch of blisters and shit on my left hand, and one of them popped. It's like,
Oh
it's
no! Oh no! I don't know.
like right under the knuckle. So
No.
every time
Okay.
I bend
Okay.
my thumb,
No.
it's like,
Oh. Oh, gross.
So yeah, thanks for listening. Link in the description, Discord and Patreon if you feel like it.
Go rest yourself, please.
Nap time, everyone.
I gotta go rest myself too.
Nap time.
Nap time.